Hello student, myself Kishore N. Gujar, Assistant Professor. Today I am going to deliver a lecture on nuclear reaction. The study of nuclear reaction provide information on the structure of nuclei as well as nature of their interaction. A nuclear reaction is a process which occurs when fast moving particle strikes the target nuclei, during which exchange of energy and momentum take place. The final product of the nuclear reaction are again some nuclear particle or particles in different direction. During this process, the structure or identity or characteristic of the target nuclei are changed and is known as a nuclear reaction. A nuclear reaction is represented by the equation as shown here. Here X is the target nuclei which is bombarded by the projectile particle A. The compound nucleus formed due to this process break up immediately by ejecting particle Y, leaving a residual nuclei or recoil nuclei or product nuclei Y. This formula signifies that the particle interact with nucleus to yield the nucleus Y and the particle B. The above equation is usually abbreviated and written like this. In many cases, the projectile A and emitted particle B are light nuclei such as proton, neutron, deuteron, alpha particle, gamma rays or photon, etc. The first nuclear reaction was produced in the year 1919 by Lord Rutherford. He bombarded a nitrogen nuclei with alpha particle from radioactive source and showed that protons were given out according to the reaction. In this reaction, nitrogen is the target nuclei, helium is the bombarding particle, proton is the ejected particle, and oxygen is the residual or product or the recoil nuclei. Next, we'll move on to the type of nuclear reaction. Let us first consider some of important mechanism by which nuclear reaction take place. One can conveniently classify them as follows. First one, elastic scattering. In this case, the ejected particle is same as that of incidenting particle or the bombarding particle. The ejected particle leave the target nuclei without energy loss, but in general with altered direction of motion. That is, the product nuclei is same as that of the target nuclei and is left in the same state as the latter. Example of this process is the scattering of alpha particle by gold nucleus. So here we can see that when alpha particle is bombarded with the gold nuclei, so here the product nuclei is again a gold nuclei along with the emission of the alpha particle. That is because during this nuclear reaction there is no loss of energy. That's why the incidenting particle and ejected particle, the target nuclei and the product nuclei is remain the same. Such type of reaction, that is here what we call the elastic scattering. Next one is inelastic scattering. In this type of reaction, the ejected particle is same as the incidenting particle, but it has different energy and angular momentum. So in this case, the part of energy of incidenting particle is taken up by target nuclei, which is excited to higher energy state or higher quantum state. This is shown by star mark here. Later, the decay to the ground state with the emission of energy in the form of gamma ray photon. In the example, we can see that here the proton is bombarded with lithium. Small amount of energy absorbed by the lithium and excited to higher quantum state. At higher quantum state, it is unstable, so it decays to the ground state with emission of a lithium along with the gamma ray photon. Such type of reaction, that is here what we call the inelastic scattering. Next one is radiative capture. Here the name itself suggests that in this type of reaction, the projectile is absorbed by the target nuclei to form excited compound nucleus. The compound nucleus subsequently returned to the ground state by the emission of one or more gamma rays or one or more photon. So here this carbon is the target nuclei, is bombarded with a proton. This proton is absorbed or captured by the carbon nuclei and it forms nitrogen along with the emission of gamma ray or photon. Such reaction are called radiative capture. Next one is disintegration. This is most general type of nuclear reaction in which the incident particle is absorbed and a different particle is ejected. So in this case, the nitrogen nuclei is bombarded by the helium. It forms oxygen along with the emission of a proton. And next one is the photo disintegration. In this type of nuclear reaction, target nuclei is bombarded with very high energy gamma rays so that it rises to excited state by the absorption of gamma rays. If the energy of gamma rays is high enough, the compound nuclei may liberate one or two particle. So here we can see that when the deuteron nucleus is bombarded with the gamma rays, very high energy gamma rays, here the deuteron is absorbed the energy of the gamma rays and it forms the two particle. One is a tritium and another one is the neutron. Such type of reaction, that is here what we call photo disintegration. Next, we will move on to conservation laws. A nuclear reaction usually follow a certain conservation laws. First one, conservation of charge. A nuclear reaction requires a incidenting particle and a target nuclei. When the incidenting particle strikes the target nuclei, it produces a product nucleus along with ejected particle. If the total charge before and after reaction is constant, or what we say in other words, the sum of charges on the reactant side is equal to the sum of charges on the product side, then we say that its reaction obeys the conservation of charges. We know that in nucleus, the charge is due to the number of protons present in the nucleus. In this reaction, the helium nucleus is bombarded with a nitrogen. It produces oxygen along with a proton. A nitrogen, it consists of 7 protons. So the charge of nitrogen nucleus is taken as 7e and the charge of helium nucleus is taken as 2e because it consists 2 protons. The total charge on the reactant side, it's become 7 plus 2 is equal to 9. In the same way, the charge on the product side is equal to 8 plus 1 is equal to 9. It means that total charge on the reactant side is equal to total charge on the product side. It means the total charge is conserved. Next one, conservation of mass number. The total mass number or total number of nucleon before and after reaction remains the same. This is because nucleon can neither be created nor be destroyed. If you take an example of nitrogen nucleus bombarded with the helium and it produces oxygen along with a proton, the number of nucleon on the reactant side is 14 plus 4 is equal to 18 and the number of nucleon on the product side is 17 plus 1 is equal to 18. Therefore, the number of nucleon on the product side is equal to the number of nucleon in the reactant side. Then we say that it obeys the conservation of mass number. Next one is conservation of mass and energy. The total mass energy in the nuclear reaction remain unchanged. We know that in order to get nuclear reaction, it requires fast moving particle. The fast moving particle carries energy, kinetic energy EA, is incident on a target nucleus X. Suppose if you assume the target nucleus is at rest, then after reaction, so it produces ejected particle B and it has the kinetic energy EB and the product nucleus or the recoil nucleus Y, it also has the kinetic energy EY. then we know that according to Einstein mass energy relation, E is equal to mc square. So during this reaction, the energy of the target nuclei is taken as mxc square, and energy of incidenting particle is taken as mac square, that is according to Einstein mass energy relation, plus it carries kinetic energy Ea is equal to the energy of the target product nuclei is taken as myc square plus Ey, because after reaction it moves in a different direction, so it possesses the kinetic energy Ey plus this quantity represent the energy of ejected particle mvc square plus Eb, because after ejecting its move in a different direction, it possesses the kinetic energy Eb. Therefore, the total mass energy before reaction is equal to the total energy after reaction, and this equation can be written as Eb plus Ey minus Ea is equal to mx plus ma c square. Here we can take c square as a common, minus my plus mb c square is equal to q, where q is known as the q value of the reaction. Next, we will move on to conservation of linear momentum. So the total linear momentum of a particle taking part in the nuclear reaction must be same before and after the reaction. If px is the linear momentum of the target nuclei, px is the linear momentum of incident particle, py is the linear momentum of the product nuclei, py is the linear momentum of ejected particle, then according to law of conservation of linear momentum, the momentum before reaction is equal to the momentum after reaction. And next one is the conservation of angular momentum. So you know that in atomic physics, the electron is revolving around the nucleus and spinning about its own axis. So that's why it possesses both the spin angular momentum and orbital angular momentum. In the same way, in nucleus, the nucleon possesses the spin angular momentum and orbital angular momentum. So that's why the total angular momentum of the nucleus is equal to an intrinsic spin angular momentum S and relative angular momentum L. This total momentum, the before collision, is equal to the total momentum after collision. That is the law of conservation of angular momentum. So here Ix plus Lx is equal to Iy plus Ly. Here Ix is the nuclear spin of the target nuclei, because in the target nuclei is the heavy nuclei. It consists of the number of proton and neutron, and each nucleon is possesses the spin angular momentum and orbital angular momentum. The total orbital quantum number, that is here what we call a nuclear spin. So therefore, in the conservation of angular momentum, we say that Ix plus Lx is equal to Iy plus Ly. Next one, conservation of parity. So the total parity of the system is the product of intrinsic parities of the target nuclei and the bombarding particle, and net parity before and after reaction must be equal. Then we say that there is a conservation of parity. Thank you.